Okay, welcome to another episode of Geek Shop. I'm Chetan. With me is Chris. Say hello to everyone, Chris.
Hello, everyone, Chris. So I have a subject to talk about today.
Uh-oh.
So have you seen the new Superman movie, or do you plan to see it?
I have seen it.
Okay, I have not seen it yet. So without giving any spoilers, would you say it's good?
I have to say I watched a review online, and the guy's title for the review was perfect. Was it Wonderful Creative Mess?
Wonderful creative mess. That's what I've heard about it too. Is generally it's scattered all over the place, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that's all I'll say for now.
Okay, and so as far as like superhero movies, do you think this is the end of superhero movies? Like, or is this a new beginning? Like, because I think we can all agree Marvel movies kind of went downhill in the last couple of years.
I would say it could be a start, but as a comic fan, there's a lot of things about the movie I would say, you know what, as a comic fan, I'm not happy with. So, non-comic fans might say, hey, this is amazing. But as a comic fan, and my biggest thing is, Nathan Fillion is good as Guy Gardner, but you know what, put him in a Guy Gardner uniform, costume. This is the fanboy in me. This is the fanboy in me. I want to see him in
the biggest complaint about superhero movies. Everybody says people are like, is the costume comic accurate? Is the costume comic accurate? And people complain about it all the time.
And for me, Guy Gardner is like the best Green Lantern. Well, Guy Gardner said he's the best Green Lantern. So and I'm saying the same thing. And besides Nort, he's the best Green Lantern out there.
Yeah. It's I from the trailers I've seen. I'm actually going to see it next week, but from the trailers I've seen, it's kind of like I kind of looked at it and I sort of wondered. I was like, oh, are they hiding the suit, or is it going to be a reveal? But from what I understand, it's not going to happen. So
I'm not going to say anything on that. But for me, it's like, you know what? Just put him in that costume. That's what we want to see. As a fanboy, I want to see that. Now, the Superman costume, I like the costume. I'm a traditionalist. I want that S on his chest. I don't want that new S. I know James Gunn is trying to do Kingdom Come mixed with the new old style Superman and all this. You know what? Do the traditional S. It's classic. It works. It's not broken.
Yeah. Do you think comic book movies work in general, or do you think that it's kind of like just maybe they should stop doing it?
If it's done right, it works. So
where has it been done right then?
I would say for me, I know a lot of people have been disappointed with the Marvel movies and stuff like that, but I think overall a lot of the Marvel movies I liked. And look at Captain America, look at Iron Man. I'm happy with that. Even they looked at the original resource material, the comics and everything, and they understood those and said, you know what, here, let's do this. Where some other movies, I find it, it's just Hollywood going, hey, this will be fun to do. But I think in general, there's a lot of good movies that have been faithful to the original source.
Yeah. The thing I find the problem with comic book movies is they try and do what comic books do and fail, and that is a comic book can make a story last forever or longer, or the sort of the soap opera effect. It's like you can't do that with a movie because you have sort of a limited amount of time and you have to have a conclusion. Like, Thanos couldn't just sort of like come back again after he died in the last sort of Avengers in the big Avengers movie. So it's like, I think part of the problem is there's this idea. I almost wish that comic book movie creators would think about them more like British TV shows, where they have a beginning and end, and they just that's it. We're done with that series. Do another one, but we don't have to like continue this like thing that goes forever. Like I actually didn't. I agree with you. I like the original Marvel movies basically until the Thanos series was over. After that, I'm sort of like, what are you trying to get at? with these characters.
No,
It's like just start again.
Even some of the later ones, like Shang-Chi, I liked. That was a good movie.
Shang-Chi, that was before Thanos' snap.
Was it?
Yeah, because he was in the.
Oh yes, he was. Okay.
So like, all that I agree. I love the little like doing like the less popular characters. Guardians of the Galaxy is a great example of less popular characters and turning them into an amazing franchise.
Same thing with Ant-Man. Ant-Man was, you know, I vaguely remember reading Ant-Man in Avengers, but that was it. I never read any of his own solo series or whatever. But he seemed to be comic accurate, and even Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was, I mean, that was very well done.
I just feel like they just try and just keep the stories going forever, and to some degree, I'm almost like just start again. Like that's what comic books sort of do every once in a while, is they just start again.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the good things about what they're doing with the DC universe is they had like the Snyder version, which was this dark and grim, which is a lot of people like love it or hate it. I sort of feel like I'm fine with it. I don't love it or hate it. I think it's okay. The Flash movie was a little weird, but it's all okay.
Let's not talk
but
about
then the idea movie. Of like, you know what? There was actually parts of it I didn't hate. So like there was actually parts of it I totally didn't hate.
The Flash movie, I would say, all the non-Flash stuff was great.
I guess so. I didn't mind Flash when he interacted with Bruce Wayne and a lot of the stuff. Like I thought that was kind of fun. And so, but yeah, but no matter what, but I like the idea that, and I know DC is doing rebooting out of necessity, because they wanted to they went with a new person running it and they wanted to get rid of Zack Snyder and all that. But it's like, I don't mind that they do that, and to some degree, I kind of wish Marvel would kind of go like, you know what, we're done with those movies. That was a great collection of movies and characters. We put them together, we packaged it. It's great.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's move on to something else. Like let's reboot it. Let's take different angles. Let's take whatever.
Now with the Superman movie, you haven't seen it, so I don't want to say too much on it. There's certain aspects of the movie that were amazing. That were great, and certain things you're going, it just as a comic fan, I'm just going, you know what? I want to, I hate to say it, I mentioned this to a friend of mine yesterday, going, you have too many characters in the movie. But he said it worked. For me, it didn't work.
Yeah.
For me, I just want to see, you know what? I want to see Superman. And the good thing, I have to say, and this doesn't give away the movie, but, you see it in the trailer, Superman's fighting a giant monster in the city.
Yeah.
And that's, and that was great because that's the kid in me wants to see that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is there is this, I think it's a corporate decision less than a story decision of trying to make like your Justice League or your Avengers team, as opposed to sort of being like, one of the great movies that was actually not bad was The Batman, the one with, what's his name from Twilight?
Oh, Robert Patterson or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Pattinson, I think is
it.
But it was a good movie in that it was the story of Batman. The existence of other characters could have existed. Like they weren't discounting the possibility that there were other superheroes.
But they
didn't.
Yeah, if they didn't overwhelm it with side stories on all of this. Okay, they had Catwoman, but she was in the background that it didn't take focus on Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah, and I feel like you need more movies where you're not sort of like, how do we set up our universe? It's like, how about just make a good movie? Like,
I think that's the problem, where I think they want to set up the big Justice League movie, and it's like, you know what, you're jumping too far ahead right now.
Yeah, it's even like the original Marvel movies. The reason why they worked when they started was because it was an Iron Man movie, and a Hulk movie. And it wasn't like this, like, well, how are we going to... And then it's like... And then eventually, if you make those characters... Because that's the way comic books were invented, was they had all these different characters.
Then
and
they somebody put them together, thought,
somebody thought, hey, what if Captain America met Thor? That would be kind of funny. And then they just sort of like there was already an established story, whereas now it's like... I feel like part of the problem with comic book movies is they're so desperate to make these teams that they don't even think about, like, how to do the movies individual, like just have the characters, have some cool movies.
Yeah.
And you can have sequels, but they don't even have to connect.
And that's why I bring up again, even Doctor Strange. look at that movie where it was just focused on him, and the second one was focused. I mean, they had have you seen the second one?
Yeah.
They had Reed Richards, they had Professor Xavier, but they weren't even they were just there for what, 5 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that focus, both movies focused alone on Doctor Strange, and it worked. It worked.
Shang-Chi is another one where it's like it was focused on Shang-Chi, and there was they admitted that there was other things happening outside, but it was never really
That's
a
it.
focus.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's what I felt about Superman is, I think, yes, Superman was the central character, but there's too many other characters around him that I just thought, do a standalone Superman movie.
Yeah. And you just want a Guy Gardner movie. You want it.
Oh yeah, Guy Gardner, and put him in proper costume. That's the thing. and and this is me as a fanboy again. Reading about they're doing a Green Lantern TV show, and
that's what I heard. Yeah,
Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, but they're going to be it's like more of a crime detective police story, and they're going to be walking. From what I've heard, it's going to be them in plain clothes. It's like, put them in costumes. Come on.
Yeah, I don't get it. So often with TV shows, they do the whole show and then they do the costumes at the end. It's like, it's a big reveal,
Yeah, but you know what? I'm tired of that. You know what? As a fanboy, it's like, what? Just do a good show with them in costume and stuff like that. That's what issue with Superman I had is Guy Gardner. Nathan Fillion was great. He had the haircut, everything. And he had the Guy Gardner mannerism, everything set. It just put him in that costume. It's small things, but it's small things, but you know what? Okay, he had this. I don't remember Maxwell Lord's Justice League costume. Him and Hawk Girl and Mr. Terrific. But it's like, you know what? No, I want to see the Guy Gardner costume.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. It's one of those things. It's funny how they seem to like the movie studios. Everybody seems to avoid the original costumes and like the traditional things, and it's sort of like that's the iconic part of it. I mean, if anybody thinks of Superman, Christopher Reeve is like a great example of like his costume was so simple and iconic, and it was.
Yeah.
I think Adam West said it in The Simpsons. He talks about how there was all the different Batmans, and then he just pointed himself as pure West in his costume. And I think that's a big part of like the superheroes now. It's like,
it is.
I want to see more Guy Gardner. I want to Superman doesn't need armor.
No, he doesn't. No. Now mentioning that, I wonder how much convincing James Gunn had to do to put him in his red trunks, because I'm old school, and Henry Cavill was amazing at Superman, but I want to see the red trunks.
Yeah, I heard an interview with, I forget the name of the actor who plays Superman, but apparently he was a big part of the reason why they kept the trunks in.
Oh, really?
The actor. And so it was something, and I could be wrong, somebody can correct me, but I basically heard that they were trying on costumes. They were doing costume fittings, and James Gunn thought none of the trunks were working, like they were too goofy. And the actor was like, why don't we lean into the goofiness of that? Instead of pulling away from the trunks and being less goofy, let's lean into the kind of goofiness of this costume and make it more sort of like play on that a little bit more. And so he did the fitting and sort of acted to make it work. And apparently that's what convinced James Gunn to keep
And
the
my
trunks
thing
on.
is, no one wears trunks and stuff, but who wears a red and blue costume with a cape?
Yeah. It's funny how people complain about the trunks, but nobody complains about the cape, which is
that's it. Yeah,
non-objectively the dumbest thing a superhero could wear is a cape.
Cape, yes, that's it. Yes,
but yes, the cape. And to be honest, my biggest complaint about Batman is I know his cape. The idea is like it's supposed to be like menacing and sort of but it's like as far as like when you're fighting someone, if you have a cape on. If anybody out there wants to try it, I guarantee you're going to fight far worse with a cape on than with a cape off.
Well, look at comparison Daredevil to Batman.
Yep.
And Daredevil has no cape, and he could jump around doing things, and it's harder to understand Batman. You're right. With the cape, it looks great when you're reading in the comics and stuff, but in a movie, I don't think the Batman cape works.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, if you're fighting in Superman, you're saying, well, should we put the trunks? I'm like, he has a giant red target on his back, and
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
you know, and something to trip on, and you know, like all these issues with it. And so the only cape that works, and it worked really well in the movies, Doctor Strange.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, because that was a what do you call it? Sentient cape.
Exactly. So it made sense. It was like it actually like helped him.
Yeah.
But it's the only cape in
Yeah, it
movies or
did, yeah.
comic books that actually makes sense. So, but
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Okay, so now what we have to do is you have to watch Superman. We could do a full episode on what you thought about it, and then we could do spoilers and stuff like that, so we could talk in detail.
it sounds good. But I think that this is an interesting conversation. We'll probably again bring it up the idea of like comic book movies in general. Like, do they work? How do
And
they
mentioning that, the next movie, and it's out this week, is Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And honestly, for only thing I want to see in that movie is Galactus.
Yeah, visually it looks good from the trailers, but like
Yeah.
other than that, I'm really afraid of the story, and you know, I
So we have to do watch it, and we'll do a review on, not review, but a geek episode on that. Not a review, but just talk about it.
okay. We'll start with Superman, and then we'll go to Fantastic Four afterwards. I only have so much time where I can watch movies, but I will.
Yes.
I'm going to start with Superman. That's the one I'm prioritizing over Fantastic Four. So.
Oh, interesting choice. Interesting choice.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy. Well, you know what? I really like James Gunn as a director. He's never done me wrong. Like I've seen all of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. It's probably the best series of movies in the Marvel universe to me is the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They're so good, and so I kind of trust him. So I'll give him give him my money first.
Okay, so let's just say to be continued.
To be continued.